happening, guys? JTF back at it today. I am in the kitchen. We're not doing a cooking video this time, but we are going to be talking about food. A couple of weeks ago, I did a video where we talked about carbs. A little while before that, we talked about protein. Today, we're going to talk about fat. What is it? What does it do? Where does it come from? Do we need to be concerned about it? All those things and more. There's so much to cover here, guys, so let's go ahead and jump right in. First of all, what are fats? Much like protein and carbs, fats are a macronutrient, or a macro for short, okay? What that means is it's a nutrient that your body needs in large amounts, and it needs it daily. And because our body doesn't have the ability to actually make this, we have to consume it, which is to say we have to eat it to get that in our bodies. Now, fat sometimes is demonized due to its fraudulent association with heart disease, but they're a necessary part of our daily nutrition, and I'd like to tell you guys a little bit more about that right now. Go! Okay, so what do fats do? First and foremost, fat contains calories. So that's to say it has energy. It is a source of energy for the human body. But if you remember from my video where I talked about carbs, carbs are the body's primary preferred source of energy. Fats, on the other hand, are the body's secondary source of energy, second preferred source of energy. Fats transport nutrients throughout the body, they regulate stomach emptying, they help balance our hormones, and they just make us feel fuller longer. Now, what kind of fats are there? It's about to get really geeky, guys. Hang on just a little bit. I've tried to break this down as simple as I can. If you want to dig just a little bit deeper, I am briefly going to cover what kind of fats there are. Primarily, there are three kinds of fats. You've got saturated fats, which I'm sure you've heard of before. You've got monounsaturated fats, and you have polyunsaturated fats. Now, all three types of fat are made of carbon chains that are surrounded by hydrogen. And this chemical makeup is just slightly different between the three, and it's this difference in the chemical makeup that dictate how each one of these fats work. Now, saturated fatty acid or saturated fat is made of the chain of carbon atoms, and each carbon atom has a hydrogen atom attached to it. It is literally saturated with hydrogen. That's where it gets its name. That's its chemical makeup. Now, these are typically solid at room temperature, and they're usually found in dairy and in meat products. Now, saturated fat was demonized for a really long time because it was thought to be have a huge hand-in on heart disease and stroke. But recent studies have indicated that that was actually fallacious. In fact, it wasn't that long, just a couple of years ago, there was a study published that studied 350,000 people over the course of 14 years, and the results indicate that fat intake and heart disease actually really had no link. Next are your monounsaturated fats. Your monounsaturated fats are missing two hydrogen atoms. Because they're missing two hydrogen atoms at a chemical level, there is a double bond between two of the carbon atoms. This single double bond that is included here is where we get the name monounsaturated. It's unsaturated because it doesn't have all the hydrogen, mono because one. Words, science, you get it. Anyway, this chemical structure is just a little bit looser, and so that means that this fat is sometimes liquid, sometimes solid at room temperature, depending on what it is. These fats are typically found in your olive oil, in avocados, in peanuts, and pecans, among other things. And finally, there's polyunsaturated fats. Now, for my science majors out there, or my word nerds, you probably are putting this together already. If your monounsaturated fats have a single double bond between carbon atoms, your polyunsaturated fats obviously are going to have multiple. They have at least two or more in their chemical structure. Now, because of this, that means that they are going to be a lot looser in structure, which means that at room temperature, they're going to be liquid. Now, I'm pretty sure most of you guys have heard the terms omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. Now, those are polyunsaturated fats that we need in our diets. Omega-6 fatty acids are usually found in your lower end oils, your sunflower oils, canola oils, corn oil, among other places. But your omega-3 fatty acids are typically found in like cold water fish like salmon. It's going to be found in grass-fed beef and sometimes even in walnuts. So, I mean, what's the difference? Omega-3, omega-6, who cares, right? Well, it does kind of matter. Studies have shown that the closer you get to a 1-to-1 ratio between omega-3s and omega-6s, the better. However, the typical American diet is going to end up being a lot lower in omega-3s, much higher in omega-6s. That's because we eat so many fried foods and so many processed foods that are always going to be rather high in your omega-6s. This type of diet promotes a greater risk for cardiovascular disease, cancer, inflammation, and different types of autoimmune disease. This is why I typically supplement with omega-3s, which is also known as fish oil, because we need that in our diets and we don't always get it. Now you may be wondering why I'm talking about the looseness of a fat's chemical structure. That's because the looser the chemical structure in a fat, the more susceptible it is to instability when it's heated up. What that means is when you're cooking with these oils, the looser the chemical structure, the more unstable it becomes, and the more unstable that it becomes, the more creation you're going to see of what are called free radicals. Free radicals are something that happens at a chemical level in those fats, and the more we consume of those, the more susceptible we're going to be to different types of inflammation, different types of tissue damage, that kind of stuff. That's why, you know, if you gorge yourself on a bunch of fried chicken or fried catfish or just anything that's typically deep fried, if you gorge on a bunch of deep fried food, it's going to have a lot of omega-6 fats in it, a lot of unstable omega-6 fats in it. That's why we end up kind of feeling like shit for a little while, because we've got a lot of inflammation going on due to the instability of those fats. Finally, a huge question that is still asked. It's not the hot topic like it used to be, but it's still asked from time to time because we associate the word with gaining weight. Fat. Doesn't eating fat make you fat? Well, the short answer to that is no. Like I said earlier, fat is a macronutrient and it has calories. It is a form of energy, okay? And I will say it, where protein carries 4 calories per gram and carbs carry 4 calories per gram, fat is way more calorie dense. It does carry 9 calories per gram. So it's more than double the amount of calories in carbs and in protein, okay? However, there's nothing inherently fattening about fat. Remember, if you followed me for any amount of time whatsoever, you'll know that I have always been a proponent of getting a calorie deficit if you're wanting to lose weight. You're going to gain weight, you're going to become obese if you are eating a calorie surplus. It does not matter what that calorie surplus is made of. If your maintenance calorie requirement is 2,000 or 3,000, let's just say for me, for instance, mine is roughly about 3,000, 3,100, depending on what my goals are. If I'm consuming 3,500 calories every single day, then I'm going to gain weight. It doesn't matter if it's well balanced. It doesn't matter if it's made entirely out of protein or entirely out of carbs, or it doesn't matter if it's entirely out of fat. If I'm consuming more than my maintenance calories, I'm going to gain weight. If I'm eating nothing but fat, if I'm just eating sticks of butter every single day, but I'm getting a calorie deficit, I'm going to lose weight. That's all there is to it. Now we can get into a bigger conversation about the quality of the calories that you're consuming, but that's kind of outside of the scope of this video. All that to say, fat does not make you fat. If you think that, get it out of your head. It's fake. Don't believe it. Not real. Get out of here with that. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for you today on fat. I hope that helped you understand it just a little bit better, and maybe help you figure out, why it's kind of important, and know that there's a big difference in a lot of fat. And, just like carbs, fats are frequently misunderstood. Hope I cleared some of that up. If you still have questions about anything, hit me up, please. I'm always trying to stay on top of this stuff, so I'm always able to give you guys the best information that I can give you. But that's all I got right now. If you thought this was cool, please like it. Please share it with your friends. Please leave a comment if you'd like to see anything. I'm covering it all, guys. Nutrition, fitness, personal development. No topic is off the table. Please hit me up with those questions and comments and suggestions. I'm open to it all. I'll see you guys next week. Until then, ever onward.